Was loud. Woo! We're on.
That helps me though.
Well, I try and speak loud so everybody can hear me, but then with the mic, I'm trying to even be louder because sometimes even the mic doesn't like being very loud. All right. Good morning, ladies watching. I'm Kyla Jackson. Good morning, ladies that are in here. Thank you for coming. Well, to get started, we do have some things I need to talk to you about. First, if you have not signed up for our new book, which we will be starting next week, we will be starting our new book. It's $10. You could drop it in the offering plate or give it to Judy and we can figure it out. Sign up and we could get that taken care of, and we'll have books that we'll hand out to you today. So I'm actually going to take this box back to Judy, and then she can help. No, you're fine. And then she can help me. You got it? Mm-hmm. Then she can help me pass out these books. Please, please, please get one of these books. Even if you're in here every other Sunday, if you're here every 2 Sundays, get a book, because it will help you be able to follow along and be able to help people answer questions. Okay, so please get a book. It'll be an encouragement to you. Even if you're not here on a Sunday, you always want to read it a week in advance before we start the next lesson anyway. So even if you're not here, like I know Belinda works every other Sunday, and bummer, but she works every other Sunday. It would be nice for her to even do that for a devotional, or on a break time where she has at work, she could sit there and read it. Because then she's not going to be too far behind, where she could still say, hey, I remember what you guys talked about last week, even though I wasn't here. I could say, yeah, what did we learn? And then she could answer the questions. So it will be helpful. And somebody told me a couple weeks ago, well, I'm just not in here very often because I have to substitute or whatever in the nursery. I'm like, hey, that's okay, because you can still read it and still be a part of the class. So please sign up and get one of those books. All right. Right now, I'm going to go over the announcements for this next month. Okay, because believe it or not, on Tuesday is the 1st of August.
Someone went awful fast.
Donna, I know. I'm right there with you. But next Sunday night, we have our sermon, supper, horseshoe tournament, and teen volleyball tournament. It says cook-off, but I think the cook-off thing is wrong there. But I think we will be having a meal underneath the pavilion. So I believe, if I remember correctly, Judy, is there a sign-up sheet for that volleyball soccer thing? So they'll bring that sign-up sheet for anything you want to bring for a dish to pass. Please come and be a part of it. It's from 5 to 7. And actually tonight is our outreach ministry service, tonight at 5. So come on in, be a part of that as well. And then on the following Tuesday, the 14th, not Tuesday. On the 14th is our next ladies Bible study. And next week I'm going to have a sign-up sheet so we can have ladies sign up who want to be a part of that, okay? And that ladies Bible study, again, is at Denny's at 11 a.m. And then I believe this is correct. Nope, the 22nd. I don't know why that is not showing up. Hold on a second. The 22nd is is the Senior and Friends trip to Frankenmuth. So if you could, please, Judy, I need you to go get Pastor Joe or Dave Comstock. Probably Dave Comstock, because I think Pastor Joe might have a teen, but it's not, my program's not working right now. So on the 22nd is the Senior and Friends trip. Okay, so please sign up and be a part of that. I'm sure there's going to be a sign-up sheet today, if not next week. So please be a part of that. You'll have fun. I'm sad that I'm going to miss it, but I have another responsibility on that Tuesday that I am going to be down for. So if you could, it's up on my screen, but I didn't get it up on that one. And then on the, if I remember correctly, the men's prayer breakfast is on the 19th, as which is on a Saturday at 8:30 at IHOP. Thank you, Pastor Joe.
The correct one?
1 second.
Title of lesson?
It should be the conditions lesson 8.
Any hard?
Yes.
Got it. Got it?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Let's see if I could get it to work now up on that.
You're gonna have to reset it on yours.
Okay. Thank you. All right, here we go. I think I got it now. It's going to take a second. Perfect.
There you go, and
Yeah.
neutral.
All right, thank you.
Good.
All right, so on the 19th is the men's prayer breakfast, 8:30. Now, I don't have it up on the screen because it's kind of far out, but I will have it on the screen next week, but it's filling up fast. We have our ladies retreat coming up on the 13th and 14th of October, okay? We ladies normally go up on the 12th, which is a Thursday. If you are interested, we would love to have as many ladies as we can possibly have, right, Dee and Judy? We would love to have as many ladies come to this event. You'll learn a lot. It's fun. There's a whole bunch of activities. There's an Insta choir, which I always go to, which Dee and Judy just sit there and just listen because they enjoy listening to it. They would rather listen than be a part of the singing, which is fine. But there's a whole bunch of different activities. They have Pinterest parties where they make Christmas ornaments or jewelry or paint stuff. So it's fun. And then they have hay rides if it's not raining. They have hay rides. They have axe throwing. They have rifle range. They have a whole bunch of stuff. And believe it or not, Donna, they have people that go out on the lake and go kayaking in October.
In October?
Yes, ma'am. So if you're interested, and they have wonderful meals.
Is this Camp Cobia?
Yes, ma'am. So if you are interested in coming to the ladies' retreat, I have information here, and I have a sign-up sheet. I don't have any lines because my computer would not cooperate with me. So if you're planning on coming, and I'm going to tell you this, you need to register now because you can ask Dee. Dee already registered, and it's getting full. And I don't know how much space is left. So if you want to come, you need to sign up. You're like, well, Kyla, I don't have a computer. That's okay because I have information right here. And what you can do is all you have to do is write your information out. And I'll just give you an example. Okay, so here's your registration form. And if you're not one to send checks up or put your credit card number in, that's fine. Or you don't want to send cash up through the mail, that's fine. You can call over the phone or you can pay once you get up there. Dee's done that before. There's other ladies that do it all the time. So if you're not one to send money or stuff like that in the mail, that's okay. You can either call them or you can just pay once you get up there, okay? But you do need to register. They do need to have a form so they can reserve your spot, okay? And if, let's see, if you, it doesn't say on here, but normally they say if you register at a certain time, you get $10 off. Do you remember what that date was, Dee?
No, and I think it might have passed. 'Cause
Okay.
I registered online.
Okay, all right. So, but there's your registration form. If, like I said, if you don't want to pay through the mail, that's fine. Just send your form up, and the address is on the bottom here, where to send it. All you have to do is just send it in the mail, and then just write them a note, say I'll pay once I get up there or whatever. And then, because I'm so nice, because some people I know aren't tech savvy or don't have computers, Sometimes I'm not tech savvy either. But I wrote out the general itinerary of the Friday and Saturday event. Once it gets closer, whoever is coming, I will let you know on that Thursday when we're planning on leaving. If we have 5 or more ladies coming, we're going to take the church van. Okay? But I can only limit it to, I think, is it 12? 1, 2,
Well, it's a 15 passenger
yeah,
van.
2. Well, if we have all the luggage.
Yeah, so I was 12.
Yeah, so if you're like, well, I really don't want to ride in that van. Well, if you want, you could just meet us up there, and that's fine too. But if we have more than 5, we're going to meet here at the church, and then we'll just drive the van. If you want to follow us on that Thursday, if you're planning on coming up on that Thursday, you could meet us here at the church, and if you don't want to ride the van, you could just follow us up behind us in the van, okay? But here's a rough itinerary. It changes sometimes, but here's a rough idea of what the itinerary would be, okay? And then on the next page, I have all the information that you need for if you have any allergies to food. They have information you want to let them know on your registration form, but your accommodations and stuff like that, what you need to bring, what type of stuff to wear. You're like, well, can I wear pants? You can. It's not against the rules. Okay, you can wear pants, that's fine. So here, there's, like I said, there's a dress guidelines, there's stuff what you need to bring to pack, you want to have spending money. So if you're interested, I have pretty much everything you need here and the sign-up sheet, okay?
No, I
And-
don't want to sign up, so, and I don't think she does.
Okay, all right, perfect. If you're planning on coming, you can take this or pass it around, all right? But we would love to have you come. If you're coming, try to invite a friend. Try to invite a friend, okay? Because it will be very beneficial for you. It's very encouraging, okay, to be around other Christian women.
I went there when I was a kid.
And it's very encouraging to be able to be around other women, to be involved with everybody, okay? So those are my few announcements. If you have any other questions, come see me or Dee, and we'll go from there. And I know there's going to be other ladies in the church who aren't in here who have gone in the past who may want to come. So I'm going to ask Dee and Judy to help recruit some people with me. If you're interested, please sign up. Please bring a friend. It'll be so much fun. The more ladies you have, the more fun it'll be because we can just sit, chat, and get to know each other, okay? All right. That's a lot of announcements, but it needed to be done. Okay. So we are finishing up with this first book. And of the ICU series. And how many of you ladies have thoroughly enjoyed this series? How many of you ladies have learned something? Even if it was just one thing, you've learned something from this series. I enjoyed it. I really liked the lesson on Ruth, because one, Ruth is like my favorite character in the Bible, my favorite story. But it was a blessing. But starting next Sunday, we are going to start in the new series, which is the ICU, heart conditions of the Old Testament. And that's what we're going to be starting next Sunday. So if you signed up, then raise your hand and we can make sure to give you a book right now so you can read it ahead of time so you're ready for the next lesson. Okay? So just real quick, on the 20th, I will not be here because I am going to be recovering from a surgery. But Judy will be teaching that Sunday, so please help her out, okay? And help Dee out, because Dee will be here as well. So if you could, please help them out. And come to Sunday school and invite a friend, okay? All right, so we're going to start this last part of the lesson from that we did not finish last week, and we're going to finish it today. But we were talking about the clean heart. The clean heart. And what did we learn? Can somebody tell me what we learned last week about the clean heart? Anybody?
Says here, closing reflections of salvation is key to our purification.
Okay. What else? What else did we learn last week? Mm-hmm. And we'll be able to follow the Lord better, right? If we're saved, Belinda, we'll be able to live a much better life, right? Especially if we're in the Word, if we're praying, if we're in church, if we're trying to invite people out, being a good testimony, it'll help us live a better life. But if we're not saved, Dolores, we could do all of that, and do you think we're going to get anywhere spiritually? If we read our Bible, pray, and all that stuff, but we're not saved, are we going to grow spiritually? No. So the way to have a clean heart is to confess our sins and ask God to help us to forgive us our sins so that we can live with Him in heaven one day, but that we could be a better testimony to those people we come in contact with. Okay? At the end of last week, I said He wants us to demonstrate the purity of our souls by our obedience to His command. Okay? So we're going to start off. Oh, Dee, I was going to have you help me with this. So we're going to start off with, here's our first blank is pureness of heart will improve our speech. Imagine that. If our hearts are pure, our words will be improved. Okay. So here's an example. You're trying to wash a crystal bowl. You're being very, very careful because you don't want to shatter it everywhere, okay? But you're washing a crystal bowl, okay? You have the soap and everything, but then your rag has stuff on it. Dirt, grime. You think your crystal will come out sparkling clean if you use a dirty rag? No, because then you have smear marks of whatever was on that rag on your crystal. Like, what in the world? And then you check it. Okay, you wring it out, you set it aside, you get a clean rag out and you wash it, and then it's so beautiful. It's just sparkling, okay? But that's how it is with our hearts. If we put in wrong, then our hearts aren't going to be pure. They're not going to be clean. Well, Kyla, we are sinful, but we are, our hearts are cleansed by asking God forgiving us. Yes, but we can do the best we can to keep it as pure and clean as we can, right? By putting in good, right? Because once we put in good will come out. But if we put in evil and bad, what will come out? What comes in will eventually, okay? Proverbs 22:11, it says, "He that loveth pureness of heart, for the grace of his lips, the king shall be his friend." In Proverbs 15:26, it says, "The thoughts of the wicked are an abomination to the Lord." Oh, so Dolores, you mean if I thought nasty thoughts, it would be abomination to the Lord? Mm-hmm. But the words of the pure are pleasant words. How many of you ladies and those watching like it when we get complimented? And in a nice way, not in a, that shirt is way too big, okay? But, wow, Dolores, I love your jacket. It's so colorful and fallish. because it is. It's very fallish looking with those rust orange and stuff. So that probably made her day. I complimented her jacket. Pleasant words, words of the pure, are pleasant words. We don't like it, Susan, when somebody's mean with their mouth, right? Especially our kids. When our kids say, "Mommy, you're not a nice mommy. I can't believe you're doing." I was like, okay, who's the mom that let you watch a show, play your tablet, go swim in the pool, or go da-da-da-da-da? We're mean? No, they're just in one of those fits, you know? They're tired, they're exhausted, we're hot, but it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter what we're going through, ladies, or what's going on around us. Doesn't mean our reactions need to be biting someone's head off, right? Okay, I'm not innocent. I'm guilty. I bite people's heads off. And then I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I was wrong. And that's the hardest thing to do, Dolores, is to admit we're wrong. It is. It's hard. But you know what? If we do it right, with the right attitude, then the Lord will bless us and it'll make it easier for the next time. Was there a time in your life where you said something that got you into trouble with another person? Think about it. It might have not been recently, or it might have been. Well, go to that person and apologize. Well, I don't want to. It doesn't matter. It's the right thing to do. We need to do what's right. Relationships thrive when we communicate with words that help rather than harm, that edify rather than tear down. Godliness breeds graciousness. Ungodliness breeds harshness and unnecessary injuries. Learning to love what God loves is a part of spiritual growth. Does God love it when people are yelling at you or you're yelling at someone? Does God love that? No. Does God love it when we rejoice when somebody gets blessed with something? Yeah. It's our attitudes, ladies. How we react when somebody else gets something. I had to tell my kids this one time. Well, that's not fair. They got to do this and I didn't. Or I won this. How many of you have heard that before with your kids or grandkids? We're like, well, life's not fair, 1. 2, we should be happy that they won something or that they got to go do something, right?
They don't want to do something.
No. But it's not, no, that's not the right way to respond. We should be happy that they got that prize. We should be happy that they got to go to a birthday party. But I didn't get to go. Well, you got to spend time with your mom or your dad, whoever one was home with you. So how we respond will determine how blessed all the blessings that we'll get. Our relationships and interactions with others will improve as we grow in pureness of heart. Our relationship with others will improve as long as we're willing to improve it. Okay? Now, I'm going to say that when I was in college, I think it was my freshman year, there was this guy there who, he was just he was not different. I don't know how to describe him. He was nice, but he was kind of overconfident with himself at times. And we all know people like that. And he told me one time, he said, if you want friends, you got to be friendly. Like, I really don't have a problem with that. It's just I'm so shy when it comes to meeting new people. And, I didn't tell him that, but he doesn't know me from Adam, And so I was like, okay, I'm going to put this to the test. I'm going to try and make him my friend. Because he was the one that said, if I want more friends, I need to be more friendly and say hi to people. So every time I saw him, hi, Tim. Hi, Tim. And then after a while, he goes, would you stop? I was like, what? I said, I was just doing what you told me to do. He goes, well, I got it. It's like, and then years down the road, he encouraged me to stop dating this one guy because the one guy was trouble. And he didn't want me to get hurt. Well, of course, in return, did I want to listen to the guy who told me, hey, to be friendly, say hi to people, then I would do that. And then he turns around and says, and then he tells me, well, you shouldn't date him. Now, would I want to listen to that guy? No, I really didn't. I didn't listen to him. And then after a while, I was working at a camp, and it was like the 4th of July weekend, and he called me, and I knew, I had talked to my mom about it. She goes, if you're not comfortable and there's red flags, you need to let it go. Like, now, I've never dumped anybody. They've always dumped me. But I never dumped anybody. So, of course, I was nervous as all get out to have to do this. I'm like, I don't want to do it, but I know I need to because I know this guy is dragging me down spiritually. And if I want to be more focused to finish out camp, then I need a, So he called me up and he goes, hey. I was like, no. I prayed the whole weekend. I was like, no, don't talk. He goes, what? I was like, don't talk. I said, because I have something to say, and I need to be able to say it. Okay. Well, I have been praying about it all weekend. I've just seen some things and heard some things that I really didn't care about hearing about you since I've been gone. And I need to call it off. What? I can't believe you. There's another guy. Blah, 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 blah. I have an engagement ring. I was going to propose to you. I'm like, sorry. I can't help it. The Lord told me I need to break it off. Guess what? I didn't cry one single bit while I was on the phone with him. But it was because the Lord, Belinda, I asked the Lord to help me. Then after I got off the phone, of course I cried. Mom's like, are you okay? I was like, yeah, these are kind of like more happy tears than like sad tears. I said, Mom, he had a ring. She goes, what? I said, he had an engagement. He was going to propose to me that weekend. Or the following, whatever. I already knew what the ring was. But then he had told me, he goes, oh yeah, by the way, I paid for some of it and then my mom and brother helped me with the rest. Yeah, major, huge red flag. Okay, right there. I'm glad I called it off. Because I heard some other things that while I was not dating anybody, except, him, obviously, he got mad because he assumed something that wasn't true. But then I heard that he was dating. It's like, well, because I had a pure heart and I asked God to help me with my relationship with this young man, that I called it off. And guess what? The Lord blessed me with better, much, much better. And that person's married to one of my dorm mates from college. So, hey, it works out in the end. But our relationships here on earth matters to the Lord because he wants us to have the right relationships with those people. And not just your spouse, but with other people you come in contact with. Okay? Next, God is able to cleanse us from our secret faults. God is able to cleanse us from our secret faults. Psalm 19:12, it says, that one didn't want to work. Who can understand his errors? Cleanse thou me from secret faults. Psalm 90, verse 8, it says, thou hast set our iniquities before thee, our secret sins in the light of thy countenance. Imagine, okay, they have an example in here. It says, if you drive a vehicle, which pretty much all of us do, you've probably experienced a time when you almost collided with another vehicle because they were in your blind spot. We all know what a blind spot is on each side of the vehicle where the driver can't see other vehicles. Side mirrors have a limited range, creating blind spots that are potential accidents waiting to happen. Looking over the shoulder allows the driver to see other vehicles before changing lanes. Now, we have spiritual blind spots. Did you know that? We have spiritual blind spots. And these cause collisions in our lives that could have been avoided if we had been paying attention. Oh, you mean like my relationship with that young man? So many people had told me, Susan, you shouldn't date him. Did I want to listen? Because one, I felt sorry for the guy, because people picked on him because he had a lisp or a stuttering problem. But I just ignored it. I ignored people's help, like the young man who said I shouldn't date him, like my sister Cammie who told me I shouldn't date him, and other people. I was like, whatever. And at the time, once I realized, once I was away from it, and I heard all these different things. And at least he was honest when I asked him about it, that he was taking other girls out while I was working. And he goes, yeah, I was. I was like, see, yeah. Mm-hmm. But we have blind spots. And I'm not just talking about relationships. I'm talking about other things. Shows we watch, music we listen to, things we read. We have many secret faults, but God is able to cleanse us from these sins, improving us as He instructs us. Yielding to God's corrective instruction is like yielding the right of way to another vehicle. Failure to yield may be disastrous. We've all seen it. Okay, especially in construction zones. You see these people on the expressway, and then these people are trying to come into the lane so they could get on the expressway, but they have to yield. Okay? Well, some people just, going super fast. Or if you have to merge lanes because the one lane's closed, you have all these people whizzing past you so they could get as far as they can before they have to come over. Yeah. And then everybody has to slam on their brakes just to let this hooligan in because they're just, it's like, guys, just patience. Oh, there might be running late for. Well, they should have gotten up earlier if they knew what the traffic's going to be like, But.
When they keep coming going like that, I look for the police officer behind them.
Yeah. Well, the second half of Psalm 19:12 is a prayer request. Cleanse thou me from my secret faults. I don't know what my secret faults are. Then do what Psalms 19:12 says. Cleanse thou me from secret faults. Ask the Lord to reveal those secret thoughts that you might be blinded to, and ask Him to show you so you can get it corrected. Okay? Praying God's work back to Him is praying within God's will for our lives. Next, the Lord blesses the pure in heart. The Lord blesses the pure in heart. In Psalm 24, verses 3 through 5, it says, "Who shall ascend into the hill of the Lord? Or who shall stand in his holy place? Excuse me. He that hath clean hands and a pure heart, who hath not lifted up his soul unto vanity, nor sworn deceitfully, he shall receive the blessing from the Lord, and righteousness from the God of his salvation. In Matthew 5:8, it says, Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Now that chapter of Matthew 5 is called the Beatitudes. If you've never read it, or it's been a while, read it. Blessed are they that da-da-da, 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 da-da-da. Okay? But this one says, Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see who? God. The phrase, he that hath clean hands, means that we're innocent and free from guilt. It also means that we're free from punishment. When it is our goal to please God, it motivates us to live as innocently as possible. Now, we're not going to, be without sin. We all know that. But we can do our best to be as innocent as we can. Okay? But we can only do that how? How can we be innocent? Or with whose help? Because we can't do it on our own. So whose help are we going to need? To be as innocent as we can be. Don't be shy. God's help. That's the only way, Belinda, that we can live innocently to the best of our ability. God will purify our hearts if we are motivated to please him. When we're aware of the presence of the Lord, it can serve to inspire us to please him in every aspect of our lives. How many of you, maybe those watching or those here in class, have had that experience where you felt God's presence in your life? I want somebody to give me one. If there's somebody in this room that has experienced the presence of the Lord in their life. Anybody? Just real quick. Judy?
When my husband was sick before he passed away, I was praying and asking for help to be able to get through this as well as I could. And I felt arms and hands holding me.
Mm. Yeah. And that truthfully.
A lot of the anxiety that I had.
Mm-hmm.
I was just,
Anyone else? Dee?
I'm kind of on the same idea what Judy was saying, I'm having a surgery at the end of the month, and it's got a 6 to 8 week recovery time, and it could turn into a really serious surgery. And I'm completely calm about it. It makes me nervous how calm I am about it. But I know that it's the Lord
Right.
giving me that peace.
Right.
I know that I'm in God's hand. And
Yep.
it's great not being all stressed out. Oh, I'm going to have surgery in a few months, and this might happen, and that might. I don't think any of those things, and I know that it's God, being here with me, taking care of me.
Yep. One more? And they felt the presence of the Lord in your life at some point. Belinda?
Oh, this was years ago, but I had a hole in my small intestine, and it made it complicated because it was in the back of my abdomen. And so it made it more difficult for the surgery. And so they aggressively, medically treated me by no food and water for 5 days. And so I was in the hospital, of course, and they emptied everything out of me with this, I call it my sewer system. It's kind of gross. But 5 days and the whole closed up. So what could have been like 6 to 8 weeks,
Wow.
God did in 5 days.
And
I
that-
was, yeah, I mean, I don't think I've ever felt any closer, to God than that. Because then afterwards, when I got home, I was on medication, and I had to get up like at 3 o'clock in the morning to take it.
Oh my.
And I just felt God.
Yeah.
The whole thing.
Amazing. And there has been so many times in my life where I could feel God's presence, excuse me, in my life. Now, I can't tell you exactly because there were so many of them, but I could tell you one. When Stephen was born, he was born in July. Well, that September, I went to visit my grandpa because his birthday was on the 24th or something like that. My brother had just celebrated his birthday. And so we went to my grandparents' house, and Stephen was only a few months old, and Grandpa got to hold him. And, we said our goodbyes, but I didn't realize that in October, Grandpa would have had a health issue. He would have been in the hospital, and he had passed away. But I could feel the Lord's presence with me because at the time I was sitting there saying, thank you for letting me be able to see him without having all those tubes and wires hooked up to him. But at the same time, ladies, I almost felt guilty too, though, because I couldn't say goodbye to him one last time. And my siblings are like, well, my mom and my older sister was like, just be thankful, Kyla, you got to see him as he was, because he didn't even recognize Titus, my brother-in-law, and he loved Titus. So I made a point, ladies, to go see my grandma before she passed away, because not long after I visited her, it was like July, I went and visited her with Joe, and that August she had passed away. So I could feel the Lord's presence. Might not have been big as some other people, but the Lord knows, okay? God reveals himself to the pure in heart in deeper and richer ways than he does with those who take their relationship with him lightly. Spiritual growth kindles increased reverence for the Lord. The blessed life is an additional benefit of a pure heart. Now I'm going to give you one last thing, and then we'll have time to do at least some discussion time here. But it says here, God can and will purify our hearts, but the process will take time and a willing participant. Are you going to be willing to take the time to let this process work? By having a pure heart, by asking God to help you have a pure heart. Well, my heart's pure. I don't know what you're talking about. Well, there are always going to be stuff in our life that we need to have a more pure heart on. We always need a pure heart. We need to always ask God to help our hearts to stay pure. Because we're going to have relationships in our life that might bring us down spiritually. And we need to ask God to help us always have that pure heart so where we can stand up for what's right and do what's right and be an example to those people who may not be saved. Okay? Let's go ahead and close in prayer. I'll have Dee go ahead and close us up in prayer as I go to the back and fix the computer. All right? Thank you, Dee.